It's Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and the Alzheimer's Association is highlighting those who've joined the fight against this devastating disease. Board Chair Dr. Rema Raman joining us now. Rema, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. Oh, looks like we might have some audio issues. I can't hear you at the moment.
Thank you for having me.
There you are. Now we can hear you perfect. So let's talk a little bit about Alzheimer's. And of course, we know this has impacted so many people across San Diego, across the country, across the world. How has it hit the Asian American community in particular?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked this question because this is, it's so important to raise awareness that this is a disease that hits us, those of us who belong to the Asian American and Pacific Islander community as well. 1 in 12 of us, Asian and Pacific Islanders over the age of 65 have Alzheimer's disease right now. And because we're the fastest growing racial and ethnic group in the United States, as we age, the API older adults are going to see the same rates that we are seeing in the rest of the community.
What have we learned about Alzheimer's in particular? Because it's a disease certainly that I think we know some about, but we don't know a lot about. Where do you think we're headed in terms of research in the years ahead?
There's a lot of work being done in Alzheimer's disease research, starting with trials, clinical trials that are trying to find treatments for the disease to help improve the quality of care. We're working on prevention, trying to find ways to prevent Alzheimer's disease, and there are several trials in that space. And we're trying to find ways in which to learn much more about the disease and learn what works and what doesn't work in the various groups, in each of our groups. And so this is, again, a plea to my people, in some sense, the Asian American Pacific Islander community members to consider joining and volunteering for clinical research and clinical trials research. So we find out treatments that might actually work for us as well.
I'm sure you speak with members of that community that are dealing with a diagnosis, whether it's for themselves or for a family member. Can you kind of describe what they're going through in that moment when that comes down on them?
Yeah, we've got, as a community, I think, several challenges as caregivers. There's been some data that came out, personal, but also from other members of the community that dementia caregivers in this group have greater care demands. They have less outside help. In fact, they actually have higher rates of depression as compared to other members from other communities and groups. So impact is big.
Is there ways that, I guess, the community as a whole, I mean, also the Asian community certainly, but the greater community here in San Diego, California, can reach out and help in some way these folks that are dealing with this?
Absolutely. The first place that I would ask people to consider for information, for resources, is the Alzheimer's Association's 24/7 helpline, 1-800-272-3900. And the association is a voluntary health organization, and it's dedicated to Alzheimer's care, support, and research. And so there is no better place, I think, for to reach out to get information as well as resources.
Yeah, we've got it up on the screen right here so people can write it down and go there as well. I also just kind of want to ask about your personal story and how you got into this kind of work and why you're so passionate about finding a cure for Alzheimer's.
Yeah, my story is personal, although I didn't realize it at that time. My paternal grandmother had vascular dementia, but like most of us, we never really saw anybody about it. In fact, I didn't realize it until I started working in Alzheimer's disease research. And so all the more reason that I think members of our community really need to realize that Alzheimer's disease is real. It's a disease, and it is not part of common aging, natural aging. Something that many of us believe that our cognitive decline, our changes in memory is just part of natural aging, and it's not, and there is help out there.
Dr. Raman, that's so important to hear. It's important the work you do, and we appreciate you stopping by and telling us about it. Again, we've got the website on the screen for anyone that needs those resources. Thanks for spending your Saturday with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
All right. Such important things, of course, especially during this month to talk about.